So just a brief introduction about myself. My name is Publio. I'm from Brazil. I've been working at the temple for about 9 or 10 years now. I usually joke that my life has been a long integration process. I've been working with plant medicines for about 20 years now. And in the past 8 years, I've been focusing my work on the integration process. That is the main intention of the session today, to start talking about integration. What is this word that we use so much, that we talk so much about? What exactly do we mean by integration? So a lot of modalities, Western modalities and Eastern modalities help me on this path of integration personally, and also in the work with the people with whom I support, with people that I support. I studied with Gabor Mate, Compassionate Inquiry. I recently concluded the work with Somatic Experiencing from Peter Levine. And I also did a lot of studies and practices in yoga and meditation. So before we start, before we go here to the actual session, I would like to invite us to do a very important part of this integration work from my perspective, something that helped me immensely. That is a simple grounding. A lot of what I see that plant medicine does to me, ayahuasca, especially in this lineage with the Shipibos, is helping me to be with things that are difficult, helping me to face, to ground into challenges within my own self and the way I perceive the world. So I really would like to start with this simple yet very important part of your integration process. That is helping us to arrive here, to really arrive here. So I hope none of you is driving or in a car or something, but if you are, please don't don't ground. Continue with your attention where you have to be. But for all the other people, if you can just find a comfortable seat, if you need to move a little bit, if you need to adjust your position, as a way to start listening, observing the needs of your body. Just taking a few moments, if that's comfortable for you, to close your eyes. If not, if that feels too much for you, you can simply soften your gaze. Listening to your own needs is a big part of this process. So either with the eyes softened or closed, just taking these initial moments to arrive here as you are. Allow all the weight of your body to be surrendered to the surface where you're sitting. Allow all the tensions to move down to the floor, to the earth. Check if there are any parts of your body that you can consciously invite for a softening now, maybe the shoulders, maybe your jaw, maybe your very breath. And every exhalation, an opportunity to arrive here. And it's so beautiful how many moments in ceremonies, maybe some of you experience these, the gratitude for all this dense, intricate connection of events, situations, and people that brought you here in this very moment. I'm inviting you for a moment of reverence to the plants, to everything in your life that made this very moment possible exactly as it is right now, recognizing elements, events that brought you here. I learned at the temple that gratitude is the currency of spirit. So it's with a lot of gratitude that we open this space. I'm inviting you to take a deep inhalation through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. And once again. And one last round. And inviting some gentle movements, some gentle stretches. Maybe you want to look around a little bit, just grounding yourself here. Yay. All right. So, as one of the intentions of this program is community, to really start connecting people from all over the world that had a similar experience as you did, that can speak a similar language as you do now, we would like to invite you for a very brief, and this will need to be very short for time's sake, just to say your names quickly, maybe just to say your name and one word that defines how you're arriving here today. Really emphasizing the importance of being short as we have some contents to go through here. So I really would like to invite each one of you. I'll be seeing you here in an order as I see on my screen, and asking you to a brief introduction, your name and one word of how you're arriving here, just to bring your voice to the space. We considered if we would make these presentations or not because of the number of people, but I think this is so important. Now, at least to hear everybody's voices here, to start feeling into this community, to make it a little bit more cozy, just to remember that we are more than just in front of a computer here, but there are all these people all over the world connected here with a similar intention. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much for all that you brought. I heard so much the word connection, curiosity, community. I think this is one of the main purposes, main intentions of what is bringing us here. To heal in a community, it's much easier and much faster than if we do it by our own selves. So I prepared a PDF that, at least for me, it makes things much easier in both ways to follow a class and also to share with you some main ideas. I hope I don't bore you. I hope you don't get bored with a PDF. I'll try to make it as interesting and as alive as possible. So just sharing it here. Share. Okay. I hope you can all see my screen and hear me well. Welcome once again to this first module. And as I said before, the intention of this very first module is to bring some perspectives on integration. We will also have a short practice by the end in breakout rooms that Juliana will organize. But I just wanted to share with you the very initial intentions of the program as a whole. We've been discussing, we've been trying to organize all these themes here. And the main idea is to present and explore common themes in this integration process to you all. Now, all these sessions are designed to offer you a myriad of perspectives and tools that can match your own individual journey with integration. And obviously, as we just experienced here, the importance of community, the practices, there will be interaction between you here in the sessions. And the idea is for us to really start connecting, building up this community little by little. I want to remind you from the very beginning here that each one of us, we have a very unique integration path. So it's so common to us thinking, oh, there's something wrong with my integration, or I'm not experiencing this, or I should be experiencing that, or I don't want to be experiencing this. It's very important that you welcome, and this we'll be talking a lot throughout these sessions. It's very important that you welcome your experience exactly as it's showing up to you right in this moment. And throughout this program, observe what resonates with you and what doesn't. Stay true to yourself. A lot of what I'll be sharing here with you comes from experience. It's a perspective of reality. It's an angle. I I don't think that I'm trying here to convince you of anything. I'm not trying to make you believe in anything. I see that all this work I did in all these years with plant medicine, with meditation, with yoga, with trauma-informed therapy, has a lot to do with seeing for my own self and experiencing first person. It's not that someone is teaching me something from the outside. It's not that something is coming from outside, but a lot of the wisdom that I experience from this path, it comes from observing, from listening, from reconnecting with my own self. So we are here to support you to understand better your integration process, but you might need some individual sessions to process some specific issues. Now, so I guess this is already a harm reduction reminder that yes, there are many things that we can learn, that we can process here in this kind of program. And this is my hope, our hope, that this program can help and really guide you throughout your integration process. But there are some situations, indeed, maybe there are some very deep traumas, some very deep wounds or pain that you're experiencing right now that will not be enough, just this program. So reminding you that the temple has an integration team where you can meet people individually. So please ask for help. Even in these sessions, if you're not feeling well, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if something's happening to you, throughout the session today, you can write a message directly to Juliana. She's the one here supporting me in holding the space. Or during your coming days, you can send Juliana an email also. Her email will be in the supporting material PDF that we'll be sharing with you. Yeah? Before going any further, I really wanted to honor this tradition. to honor the tradition in which we are right now. This the Shipibo tradition. And can you hear me? Are you all there? Yeah, I'm I'm seeing people are very still here on my screen, just worried about the connection. Okay, I think you're there. So just a deep acknowledgement that we are here, we are all connected here because this tradition, the Shipibo tradition, is alive. It brought us here together. And how does that connect with the integration process? I see that indigenous people across the planet, they all have maintained this deep relationship with the natural world, the knowledge that nature is conscious and intelligent. Yeah? And with all this work I did with integration, I see again and again that integration has a lot to do with coming back to our nature and respecting it in several dimensions, in coming back to who I am in reality, in remembering what is already present here, in listening. I love how some traditions here in my country, in Brazil, they say that ayahuasca is the vine that helps us to remember, not exactly to learn something new, not exactly to discover something that is amazingly new, but simply to remember. It's as if it is a mechanism of reconnecting with things that are obvious, that are here hidden in plain sight. And I've experienced this a lot connecting with with natives, with indigenous people from all over the world. It's as if, including the Shipibos, it's really as if they are seeing a reality that is different from these that we see. There is something more grounded. I usually say this, I love seeing the feet of the Shipibo, their legs. There's something for me when I see those legs, there's something so connected to earth. There's something so grounded there that for me is very inspiring. You know? So in this aspect, now Mike Aishala, who has a beautiful work with integration, he says that sometimes indigenous people, they don't have the same need for formal integration as we Westerners we do. And because psychedelics are used within the community, now they have all the support of a community there, and within a more holistic worldview, or because psychedelics are already more integrated into these indigenous cultures. Yeah. So the understanding that it brings to me is that one, it's so important that we build community here, and two, it's so important that we start observing, remembering our roots, reconnecting with our roots, with nature in itself. But let's go to the point here. And before I start trying to give you some ideas or some answers, I really would like to invite you to take a few moments here. Yeah? I would like to invite you to pause, maybe just for a couple minutes, and once again, to bring your attention inwards and bring this question to your own self. Yeah? What is integration? Hmm? When I say this word, what awakens in you? What are the images, ideas, emotions, maybe, that emerges in you when I bring you this question? So really bringing the attention to your heart, to your breath, and see how this very simple question lands to you. Yeah? What is integration for you? Take a few moments there, allow it to land. There are no rights and wrongs. Mm. Just feel into it. Hmm. Okay. With all these years working on this field, for me, it became very clear that there is not a formal consensus. Uh, Integration is exactly this. This is the way to go. This is what you should do. There are some main ideas, there are many recommendations, and this is what we try to organize in this program. But integration may take countless forms. So I collected some possible definitions here, and I would like to really invite you to see what resonates with you as I bring you these definitions. This is from Geoff Bath, and I can't pronounce his surname, but Geoff, he's famous in these integration circles, and he says that integration is a process in which a person revisits and actively engages in making sense of, working through, translating, and processing the content of their psychedelic experience. Through intentional effort and supportive practice, this process allows one to gradually capture and incorporate the emergent lessons and insights into their lives, thus moving towards greater balance and wholeness, both internally, mind, body, and spirit, and externally, lifestyle, social relations, and the natural world. I really like this. It's a kind of academic, scientific attempt to define integration, but it really captures most of the main elements here, from my understanding of of integration. And I found another definition that for me touches a little bit more my heart. It's from one of my main teachers, Jack Cornfield, a meditation teacher. And I will read it to you. And once again, check how that touches you, how that feels to you. So psychedelics awaken in people not just a thirst, but a sense of the possibilities for exploring the mind and body, that they could live in a different way. Then they begin to develop those sensitivities and those visions without repeatedly taking psychedelics, by undertaking some spiritual discipline, yoga or meditation. Finally, many people begin to see that even their meditative practices wouldn't stabilize when the rest of their life wasn't included. They found it was necessary to take care with their actions in a way that was non-harming and compassionate. So we have gone on to discover that the root of fundamental change must be grounded in our ethical behavior and compassion, followed by a systematic inner training. Those are the supports for long-lasting and integrated access to these transformative experiences. So this is a brilliant definition from my point of view. It's really this attempt to integrate, to bring the rest of our lives into these glimpses of what we saw in the medicine plant space. And above all, grounded in an ethical behavior and compassion, now followed by some systematic inner training. And I see that our intention here with this program is exactly that. To bring more awareness of what is integration, what exactly is happening there for you in the realm of integration, and then how to ground that with a compassionate attitude and with some systemic training, some tools that we will bring to you. On a more practical sense, and I thought of it as we have a lot of people here, and there will be more people watching us in the recorded version of this class, that integration can have two main aspects. Now, it can serve to maximize the potential benefits from your experience, or it may also come from a need because you had some difficult situations and maybe some feelings, some difficult feelings are still lingering after that experience of yours. Yeah? So checking with yourself, which of these aspects sound more prevalent to you right now? Are you here to maximize potential benefits, or are you here in the need of processing some difficult situations? In most of the cases, it is a combination of both. But having this clear to ourselves helps us in start mapping what is the essential material that I'm integrating here. Now, what am I bringing to this conscious space of integration? Awareness from the awareness is usually one of the very first steps of any transformational process. So I repeat myself here. So the intention of this first session for you today is to make it even more clear, to invite you to notice even in a more direct way, what is integration looking like to you? Your own personal journey with that. Is it difficult situations? Is it that I want to ground the beautiful things that I've learned? Is it some difficult material emerged that caused some disorientation for me in my life? Oops. All right. It's curious how, for me, it became very clear from my very first contacts with the medicine. The work in the ceremonies is just the very beginning of a much longer journey. I started this journey 20 years ago, as I said, and my life was completely different at the time. I was studying to be a diplomat. I used to have many different of addictions. I drank a lot of alcohol, and I was very much disconnected with myself. I was in a deep state of shame constantly, very introspective and basically afraid of reality and the world all the time. And this was 20 years ago. And I remember coming back to university where I was and having an immense shock, a huge shock, a reality shock with that. People in the university at the time, they used to, my colleagues used to say, who is Publio? Publio is that guy who went to Peru and never came back. So it was a difficult process for me to come back, especially in a time in which integration wasn't even a concept. Ayahuasca was not popular at the time. Leave it alone, the concept of integration. But I'm very happy that I could find a lot of support throughout this journey in many different modalities with people, friends, family, that really helped me to trust the visions, the inspirations that I saw in that very first ceremony. That is curious that it still comes to me when I talk about it there in Pucallpa. So the hook, what I call the hook here of this medicine is usually a window of perception, a knowing that something in us can feel better, can feel whole. I usually bring to people in the beginning of their integration process this that I called the window metaphor. Maslow described it a little bit as the peak and the path. But what is the window metaphor? Most of us, if not all of us, that end up searching for a retreat at the temple, for a work with plant medicines or psychedelics, most of us, we arrive to these spaces feeling internally as if we are in a dark room with our fears or traumas or worries or confusions or wounds. Yeah? And the work with the medicine opens in us, open to us, a window within this dark room. We can see a window from there. There is a window with a beautiful landscape there. Now we can see the trees, we can see the birds. We can take that deep breath once again. Now we say, all right, that exists. How did I forget it? It is there somewhere. Yeah? And I always like to remember that this is just a window. Mm. It's so common what people report after coming back from the retreat. Oh, but the effect seems to be fading away. I'm coming back to my old patterns, my old habits. I always say, wait, are you sure you're coming back to the same space? Yeah. We saw a window. Mm. You have a clear reference now. It's not that someone told you, it's not a philosophy, it's not someone trying to convince you, it's not a religion, but it's an experience in first person. I saw this window. Mm? And this reference changes everything. Mm? So I usually say for people when they start saying, oh, but I'm getting irritated once again, I'm feeling all these emotions once again, I say, oh, wow, your integration process is about to begin in a more direct way. So the integration process in the window metaphor is all right. The medicine shows us the window. The integration process is to look, to turn to the room, to this dark room that might be messy, and to start searching for the actual door that leads you to that potential landscape out there that you saw in first person. Yeah? And the roadblocks to this landscape out there may take many different shapes and forms. Relationships, work, family, and you name it. Your physical body, the way you treat it. So I hope that this makes sense to all of you. It's difficult, this kind of format. I can see your reactions here. I feel uh, speaking to my computer. I hope you you can relate to it. Um, another big thing that we see in the integration process is this question: is this normal? What is happening to me now? I'm feeling more sensitive. Things are changing within myself. It's difficult for me to relate to other people. I've been feeling much more emotional. My needs are changing. So basically, in the very same way as we tell people in an ayahuasca ceremony in itself, answering to this question, is this normal? Most of the time, the answer will be yes, this is normal. Mm? But as I said in the beginning, it's crucial here that if you are in any deep distress, physical, mental, or emotional, please ask for help. Mm? Please reach out. It is plant medicines really help me to learn how to trust. We know that trust is a big word here. And myself, having gone through profoundly challenging integration processes, I know that even trust is something that can be challenging for us. But it's so important that we remember that you're not alone in this journey. If it's too difficult for you, if you really see that you're struggling, it's essential here. Please ask for help. So with this intention, once again, of helping you to find a sort of a map to your integration process. Here at the temple, we came to a general, a possible agreement in some different dimensions, not only the dimensions of the integration process, but also the dimension in which medicine in itself will be working in you. And throughout this program, we'll be touching these different dimensions. Now, today, as you're perceiving, is much more an introduction, an opening of the space, a welcoming of the material that is there within yourself in your integration process. But here is a way for you to start noticing within yourself these different dimensions. They are obviously all profoundly connected, interconnected, merging with each other. But just to invite you to notice these dimensions in you right now. So the first obvious dimension here is the physical dimension. It's not by chance that most of the modalities that are helping people to integrate nowadays, they are all related to the body. Hakomi is a big modality that works really well with psychedelics, deeply based in the body. Mindfulness, another modality, mind and body. Now, compassionate inquiry from Gabor, body. Somatic experiencing, body. So one thing that plant medicines really taught me was to remember my body. Please don't feel disheartened if this is a challenge for you. It is a challenge, I would say, for all of us in this current civilization. We live in a time in which we are deeply disconnected from our bodies. We are conditioned to that. Yeah. Yeah. So to come back to the body is a big teaching from the plant medicine and is a big journey through your integration practice. And we will be having more and more tools, practical tools here throughout this program. But just to start observing that. Now, how is it for you to inhabit your body? Is it something that comes easy to you? The word, the fancy technical word we use for that nowadays is interoception. It's such a fancy word that simply means the capacity to notice physical sensations in the body and to connect them with our emotions, with our experiences. The physical body is a great guide, is an immense teacher for us. The more we pay attention to it, the more we can reconnect with our authenticity, with our instincts, with our gut feelings. And this has so much to do with the integration process. So the physical body, and just inviting you right now, as an experiential program we want it to be. How is your physical body in this very moment? How is your breath? Can you notice any physical sensations there? Pain, comfortable sensations, pleasant, unpleasant. Can you take these few moments here just to really bring the attention there? All right, another dimension of integration clearly is the mental. Now, this is the easiest for us to notice as Westerners, I would say. Something that we constantly hear, or at least that I notice from the Shipibo healers. Now, they are always telling us, watch the mind, observe your thoughts there, observe what is coming up. The mental, the cognitive part, the mind, is a huge aspect of this integration, of finding some peace in this world in general. The mind can create the worst scenarios and can create the most beautiful paradises, or the mind can simply help us to be here and to deal with whatever is happening right now. Um, we will bring more practical tools around it as well. But once again, a reminder that it's not about getting rid of any thoughts, but it's about learning to observe the mind, to question the mind. It took me quite a while to really understand, to really perceive that the mind, that the thoughts that come to my mind, they are not as reliable as I wanted them to be. That a thought is not a loyal representation of reality, or what things really are. So we will touch much more cognitive tools, but just how does that touch you? You know, when I bring the importance of mind here, how is your mind in this very moment? Yeah. What are the thoughts? What are the ideas that are present with you right now? Where is your mind taking you in this very moment? Can you notice it without judging it? Now, are you here with us? Are you half here, half with stories? So this discipline in observing thoughts, observing the mind, is a huge part. Yeah. And the next aspect, the emotional, oh my. It is almost like a cliche, as you might have heard, that plants, they don't necessarily helps us to feel better, but they helps us to better feel. They help us to better feel. One of the greatest gifts that medicine gave to me was the clarity of the importance to honor my emotions, to honor my laughter, to honor my tears, to honor everything that comes to me in the realm of the emotion. And that doesn't mean to indulge in them, to get lost into stories of victimhood or stories of anger, but that knowing that in the essence of my emotions, there is a teaching if I pay attention. It is in the essence of that emotion, especially if it's a difficult one, that there is a liberation for me. So we will also be working a lot with it, but in this introduction, what is your relationship with your emotions? How does that touch you? How is it for you to be vulnerable, to bring some tears, or maybe to have a sincere laugh, a belly laugh, to be spontaneous, to open up, to give yourself permission to feel. Just some more dimensions here. The spiritual dimension, it's that's a very difficult one to put into words, ineffable, right? Spirituality. But I would say that basically everybody working with plant medicines, in one point or another, you will touch something that your mind, your senses, your brain cannot explain. Yeah. There will be a moment there, no matter if you are ascetic or atheist or whatever label you use there to you, there will be a moment in which your senses will be challenged and you say, all right, I don't know, but I really can't explain that which just happened or that which I just saw here. There's something very fascinating about working with psychedelics. It takes us sometimes, not always, but quite often, to these spaces beyond our capacity to even describe in words what happened. And we wanting it or not, it brings us a change. It makes us a little bit more humble. It makes us a little bit more, in a very good way, unsure about reality. being so sure about reality. Sometimes it makes us entitled of things. The medicine work can be so humbling in this aspect. How many times I received these in medicine work? Hey, Publio, you really, let me remind you, you don't know. You really have no idea of what is happening here. And there is beauty in that. Yeah? So spirituality, much beyond a concept of God or a religion. But for me, it's a contact, a direct contact with a mystery. It is a mystery. Come on. We are in this big earth ball with the sun and with the birds and this bunch of miracles happening all the time, your heart beating now with an intelligence that is not aware. uh, it is mysterious. If you pay attention to it, it is at least mysterious to be alive in this human body, experiencing life in this way. So plant medicines just make us aware of that, of wow, that experience of hyper reality that we can have. Who is keeping all of this together? How did I get here? Oh yeah, I have hands. I can move my hands. I can move my feet. It is mysterious. Yeah, so the spiritual aspect, the mystery, yeah. And relational. Oh, everything is relationships, right? I would say that relationship is present in everything that I shared from above. The relationship with our physical body, the relationship with your mind, the relationship with your emotions, relationship with people around you. Yeah. So this realm of relations. Yeah. Yeah. How is your relationship with your own self? This is a big one. A very common thing in the integration process. We finally seeing that our worst enemy is our own selves. This inner talk, the fear that I create, the lack of confidence in myself, the all the judgment I carry. Mm. So relationship, a big part of it, and we will have Juliana will lead a very specific session here on the inner critic that for me has a lot to do with this relationship with our own selves that is the origin of all other relationships. Yeah, so cultivating a more conscious, compassionate relationship with our own selves is in the foundation of the structure of a whole transformation with all the others relationships you carry in life. And we'll have a specific session for that. Almost there. Awakeness, the quality of being awake, of being aware. Mm. There is a beauty in awakeness. A lot of plant medicine work, as you might know, the shipibos, the facilitators, we at the temple, we talk a lot about it, is shadow work. Is bringing to the awareness that which was hidden there, that we've been avoiding, adapting, that we've been finding all these mechanisms not to face. Mm. Mm. Oh, I have all these people here to blame. I have all these situations in my life to make responsible for my unhappiness and for my pain. The shadow work is when we really start seeing, oh, wait, I carry some responsibility here. I also carry my shadow. All of these that I'm pointing outwards, I'm also part of it. So awakeness for me has a lot to do also with humility. Being humble enough to recognize my patterns, my flaws, my limitations, my pain, and this infinite work that is to be a healthy, conscious human being. It's very humbling to, if we really think about, okay, what is the end of integration process? Now, what is there in the very end of it? Enlightenment. All right. Now, that is what is in there, in a very long horizon somewhere. So this humility of seeing my limitations, of remembering that I'm here to learn, to process, to ask for help, uh, to trust that in the essence of all these tests, pruebas, that is something that we will see in the next session, there is love. There is some loving presence here. Yeah. And just quickly, these two last points as we are running out of time. Reciprocity, that is a key element. We talk a lot about it at the temple, the Shipibos, Aini, Akinananti. Reciprocity for me is what makes this whole. A reciprocity to the jungle, reciprocity to the plant medicine, a reciprocity to people around us. These may take so many different shapes and forms, but in essence, it's this reminder that this cliche, what I give is what I receive. I grew up here in Brazil. I usually say that my father was one of my main teachers, and he's a kind of a spiritual leader here in the community. I don't know how to describe him, but I remember having my typical difficult times as a teenager and going through crisis. And I never forgot my father telling me, "Oh, you're there, you're worried, you're suffering. Go outside, find someone to help. Just find someone that you can help. Not find someone to help me, but find someone that I can help, that I can support, that I can share, that I can listen, that I can in any way, shape, or form." So reciprocity. Yeah. In more specific terms to the plant spirits, I would say that reciprocity is exactly what we are doing here. To trust, to be patient, to surrender to all the difficulties and the challenges that we are carrying. We hear this so much from the healers, trust, patience, surrender. And the cultivation of these internally is a big part of this integration. And finally, just briefly mentioning here, honoring the ancestors. We know that this tends to show up a lot in medicine work, in diets. We can go really deep with that in the dietas. But the ancestors, knowing how we arrived here, honoring them and honoring also all this baggage that we brought here, their symbolic presence or the real presence in our lives. I also saw this in so many the original indigenous traditions, honoring the ancestors. In India, I know some different groups in India. They know the names of several generations before them. So we just wanted to at least name the importance of this ancestor work here, how we arrived here. So the common themes, as we mentioned before, just for you to have a look quickly here, we will go deep into all of them and check which of them might be resonating with you. Forgiveness, compassion, boundaries, grief, finding my voice, finding my power, reconnecting with my essence, reconnecting with spirituality, letting go, physical care, new life structures, work, relationships, and so forth and so on. Yeah. But what I just said, at the temple, the healers always remind us trust, patience, and surrender. But I would like to bring this now to you as plant medicine work, integration work is an experiential practice. So, Juba, can we make just 8 minutes here I think 8 minutes to honor the time. So Juliana will send you to breakout rooms, yeah? And in pairs, we would like to invite you to share in pairs. Very simple. One person will be listening, and the other person will be sharing. The other person will be listening, and then the other person will be sharing. Compassionate listening, we will not be processing, interacting with each other, making comments, but it's just that initial contact here. The inviting question is, how is integration showing up for you in your world with all that we shared here? How is integration showing up for you? What is that? How is that looking for you right now? All right. Welcome back, everyone. I think everybody's back. So thank you so much for your presence here, for listening, for sharing. I hope that what was brought here feels alive for you. As I said before, if you have any needs, there's anything that you need, please reach out to Juliana. Her email will be there. And one last thing that I wanted to bring here is a practice. So we have a practice, a recommended practice for this week. As we work today on developing more awareness of how integration is showing up for you, the practice for this week, let me share here my screen once again so you can see it. The recommended practice for this week before our next meeting is a journaling prompt combined with awareness and compassion. Now, how does that, what you're integrating, manifest in your life? What is its impacts on your relationships, work, family, worldview? Now, what are the common themes you identify? What are the dimensions of integration that you recognize? So basically, the invitation for this week, a practice, is just awareness. Being aware, shining that light of awareness. What is actually happening there? Take notes, be curious, but above all, be compassionate. I always bring these words from Bessel van der Kolk when he says, awareness is one of the main pillars of the transformation process, but awareness without compassion is sterile. It doesn't bear fruits. So yes, being curious, but with compassion. Yeah. Juba, you want to say something else before we close? Is there anything else that you want to say? Thank you, Simone. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Ju?
Yeah, just to let you know that we are gonna make the recording available and also some written material. We are gonna release each module as we go. So I'm gonna release module 1 today with some written material, include what Pubu shared, and also the recording if you wanna watch it again. And I wanna say thank you for your presence. Yeah, it's amazing when we come together, what we create together, and also what we create together, create our community as well. So very, very beautiful to have you all. Thank you so much. And thank you, Pubu, for the beautiful sharing. It was amazing.
Thank you for the invitation, Ju. So see you next session. The next session is on the 18th at the same time as today. We'll be talking about pruebas, tests, as an intrinsic part of the integration program. See you there. Bye-bye. Thank you.